Hello, welcome. This is Ryan Zink here at Creative Intuitive Solutions. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, whether you're with somebody or whether you're celebrating independently, or even if you're not celebrating at all, that's perfectly all right too. But I just thought I'd share with you, I'm in the process of writing a new book, and the book is titled Surviving Loss and Grief. And it is 10 years ago today that my mother passed away, and it was sudden. Um, I still don't know personally if she had a hand in ending her own life or exactly what happened. So, this has always been a not rough, but a difficult time because as much as I don't want to think about it, and as much as I try to keep myself occupied on the day, it always comes up, the anniversary, and energetically I'm just kind of bombarded by the feelings and the emotions that come up each year. But this year was a little bit different because it's been 10 years, so I really put a lot of thought into it. um, I thought, will there ever come, a February 14th where I'm not reminded of that? And I'm not sure that it will happen, that I'm not reminded of it. But this year I was occupied. The universe occupied me. I got a new puppy, and it just so happened that her spay appointment landed on today. So I got up really early at about 4 a.m. and I showered and I got ready to go to town. And town is about an hour away. So I took her to her appointment. And while she was there, I went and got a coffee, and I walked around the mall, and I did some browsing. I looked at some clothes and just kind of kept myself occupied all morning until I picked her up. And then I got the idea, I'm going to get on here on Valentine's Day and talk about this book I'm going to be writing. I've already started writing it, the Surviving Loss and Grief, but I've kind of had to get through um, these feelings and emotions that I've been going through, coming up around my mother's death anniversary before I actually start writing the book. I've been too charged up to actually sit down and write. I've started writing some of it and started putting some of it together, but I'm really trying to get more involved in it after some of these feelings and emotions pass. The book is going to be about loss and grief. We think of it in terms of death, but sometimes it is grieving an old neighborhood we lived in, or if we've ever been in a car accident and had our car totaled, that is a loss. Um, in my opinion, grief usually is accompanied by a loss in the form of a death, but in my opinion, we can still grieve other things as well that we've lost other than just life. Um, I had a car I love so much. I mean, it sounds very materialistic, but it wasn't. It was the car I'd always wanted, and I loved driving it. And it took a dump on me one day, and I spent about every last penny to try and get this car fixed, and I couldn't. It just wasn't in my reality to have that car operational at the time, and I had to let it go. And I still think about that car even. I know it's just a material possession, but our possessions and our items, they're extensions of us. They're extensions of who we are. And if something isn't working or we lose it, it's an absence from our life. So in the book, I'm really going to define loss and grief, and I'm really going to explore in the book and come up with some meditations that are helpful for people to start releasing the energy of loss, grief, the sadness, the anger, everything that goes along with it, to start kind of decharging and deprogramming from those energies so that we can heal from them. And it doesn't mean that the event is wiped from our aura or that it's wiped from our beingness, but it does give us some room and some space, in a sense, to kind of move forward and take some next steps. We'll also be exploring in the book kind of that initial shock that comes with the loss, whether it's a loved one or a home, or it could be anything. And sometimes there's an initial shock, and sometimes it's subtle, and sometimes it's severe. But I'll be talking about in the book how to move forward during those shock times, those times of shock. And there will be meditation exercises to be able to learn how to be grounded, to kind of start releasing the shock. If you ever do find yourself in that time of kind of despair, how to ground and how to be kind of centered in those times so that you can take the best action, the next step forward, in your times of loss and grief. So that's what that book's going to be about. But today went pretty good for me. And I'm thinking about Valentine's Day, and it doesn't hold too much weight for me other than it's the death anniversary of my mother. And like I said, she's been gone about 10 years. But I started really thinking about it a little bit. And I haven't dated anybody in about 10 years. So I'm like, it's really did impact me on many different levels, losing her and the way that she died and the way that I found her, lifeless. It had an impact on my life. It kind of shaped my reality a little bit. I don't want to say in a good way or a bad way, um, but it's definitely given me some strength. Um, each year and through the moments of life, I kind of process it a little bit differently. Each time I kind of come up to it, or each time it comes into my reality stronger, the thoughts and the memories of that event. I start looking at it from different perspectives, and there's many different ways my mind my mind goes about it. But I was only 30 when I lost my parents, both of them. 30 when my dad passed, and 31 when my mother passed. So I feel like I kind of lost them at a young age, and I see people around me now that are in their 50s and 60s, and they've still got their parents, and I think, wow, you had them in your life for a long time. And I feel like sometimes people do take it for granted. But I was thinking about it, and I haven't dated anybody in about 10 years. And there's a lot of, I have to think about that, and I have an awareness about that. So that may start to shift. I may start dating again eventually. It's not solely because of that. I do enjoy my autonomy and independence. I really value that a lot in my life. But anyone that's out there that's maybe lonely, or maybe they've suffered a loss and grief uh, around a Valentine's day today. Maybe you broke up with somebody on Valentine's Day last year or the year before, or you went through a divorce or something like that. We can still do things for ourselves that are beneficial. We can cook ourselves a nice dinner. We can show ourselves love. We can take that extra bit of care for ourselves during this day. It doesn't have to be extravagant. Um, I will mention I was at the mall earlier, like I said, and I saw a couple. The guy opened the car for the woman or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that's so nice or whatever. I felt a little bit jealous that they had that kind of chemistry, and I could see it blatantly from sitting in my car in the parking lot, waiting to go pick up my dog. She had surgery, like I said, this morning. And I felt a little bit of jealousy within me. So you can use this day to also see what stirs up from within, what's going on internally, what emotions, what energies do you maybe want to work on or clear as this holiday passes. And you can even work on which emotions and which energies and which feelings and which vibrations you'd like to strengthen. Maybe there's something you'd like to strengthen. You're loving this day and it's going so well for you, and you'd like to create it out into your year, the rest of your year. This day is going maybe so well for you. You can just kind of hold on to that feeling of it going so well for you if you're that person. And you can imagine that flowing all the way through this year and even into next year, just those feelings and emotions, the whole vibration of it. Be on cloud nine if that's you. Anyway, I'm Ryan Zink. This is Creative Intuitive Solutions. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you have a great